My thanks go out to the president, provost, faculty, friends, family, and community. Thank you, too, to those who run the show, RISD ride drivers, groundskeepers, facilities, and dining staff. I'm honored to be here with all of you. Some of us in the room today never expected to go to college. Perhaps we didn't come from formally educated or wealthy families, making higher education an unrealistic or otherwise extremely challenging venture. By contrast, some of us grew up anticipating university from day one. It was always an undeniable facet of the plan, complete with high hopes and high anxieties. Some of us came from thousands of miles away. Others always called Providence home. Some aspired to join the ferocious pace of a design company or the quiet solitude of a private print studio. Others still were convinced they were going to study something practical until a sudden whim compelled them to submit an application to art school. Sometimes you have to fight like hell to get things to happen. Sometimes you have to wait for the right place and time, and things just fall into your lap. The sweet spot, I think, is when chance collides with the earnest will, patience, and guts it takes to see things through to the end. No matter where we fall on these various spectrums, standing here at our graduation, I'm certain that the meanderings and forks in the road have turned all predictions on their heads. Honestly, I never seriously considered higher education. I didn't have a college fund or a sense of my professional ambitions, making my acceptance and full-ride scholarship to RISD a miracle. School was also uninteresting for me. When I first learned to speak English, I thought my public school teachers, who made a show of being unable to understand me, cruel and stupid. I stopped standing for the Pledge of Allegiance in the 4th grade. I read books of my own choosing under the desk. As a teenager, I was chronically late with an egregious absentee record. I took AP classes, but I didn't bother showing up to the exams. Clearly, I recoiled from structure. On principle, I didn't attend my high school graduation, but I wasn't against education. I knew I held a different drive. I wanted alternative avenues to learning. More than anything, I craved to question, to follow the threads of my own interests, and to insist on thinking for myself, even if I was proven wrong. I found the space I needed to do the questioning and self-discovery here. Suddenly, I existed in an ecosystem teeming with rebuttal. Not a senselessly antagonistic pushing against, rather, a cultivated and intentional aim to always be a little skeptical, thoroughly inquisitive, and absolutely engaged. Even pushing against the very makeup of the institution was a skill and a virtue we practiced well. My past 4 years at RISD have been intellectually rigorous and full to the brim with new ideas and perspectives. Many I inherited in the classroom from my professors and mentors. Many I absorbed beyond it while living and working and talking. Knowledge isn't only about information or craft. It spills space the way oxygen does, passing between people from hand to hand. Me and my friends have made music, thrown elaborate costume parties, and erected May Day poles. We've debated furiously, wrote poetry and manifestos, organized protests. We've printed zines, staged runway shows, built digital worlds, and played DJ sets. We've designed fish tanks, altered clothes, given each other tattoos, repaired tools. We foraged for dye plants, baked bread, and put on impromptu performances. And all of these things, and countless more spontaneous miracles like them, are transmuted by ferocity and dedication into art. Such is the role of the artist, to seek out the serendipitous and live as fully and meaningfully as possible. Then to nourish it with the daily work and constant tending it takes to actually make something, from a book to a painting to a garden. Ours is serious work. I didn't understand this multiplex power and perpetuity until I came to study here. All my life, I just painted, in the same natural way I brushed my teeth or went to sleep. Or at least it seemed that way. Now I reflect often on the debt of gratitude I owe to my mother and my grandparents, who provided me with ample materials, contagious excitement, and sometimes frustrated chiding when I didn't feel like finishing a piece. Despite the classic immigrant family story of juggling several jobs to make rent, my creative impulse was always nurtured. Without their sacrifices, I wouldn't be at the podium addressing you today. But artistry would still be in my nature. The lifeblood of art would be present. The various support systems that have nourished our artistic drive have prepared us for so much. Still, we are graduating into a time fraught with hatred, greed, and uncertainty. This is enraging. This is terrifying. But this also means there's no moment more fertile than now to insist upon alternative means and methods to live and be and resist with intention. Every generation encounters its own apocalypse, and each has made it through the end of days. Artists and designers have adaptability and a knack for the subversive on our side. We came from everywhere, and we are everywhere, constructing the very chassis of our world. So we need to go out and look for one another and for our work, which might be hidden in the plain sight of architecture or in the brilliance of a film that changes minds. We're walking into the world with a set of tools, a community of peers, and the responsibility to work with as much passion as we can muster. That labor is shifting and limitless, and every day and action, unstoppable as rhizomes of grass. We must create, interrogate, and create again, fiercely, deliberately, radically. I can't wait to meet you out there. Thank you.